Welcome to my channel, and I'm here to inspire you, give you crochet advice, and help you along with your next project. If you enjoyed this pattern, please give me a thumbs up or even comment so I can gauge your interest. It helps me to know what to film next. I'm not very formal. Here's today's zinger. You know, Jeannie keeps telling me that our Hugs and Kisses is really popular, but luckily I have selective hearing. I love denial. Without further ado, let's get on with today's tutorial. Hey, welcome back to the Crochet Credos with my friends over at Yarnspirations.com. Today is the Texture World Crochet Blanket. Fabulous design. Stitch sampler this is. I sound like Yoda because it's backwards. And what we have here is a beautiful texture. This is in my wheelhouse. This has me like all squirming in my chair. I absolutely love stitch samplers because I get to learn new stitches as I go. It's using Karen tea cakes, and we only are using two different types of balls, and in the balls they change color on its own. So when you see the multiple color, those are existing in one ball. So we have 5 cakes of the marine green and then 5 cakes of sunset stroll, and it's very strategic on how those are changing color. So even though there's a section of the same ball, the yarn can change color on its own too. So it's really quite neat. So this one here has an issue, and we're gonna talk about that next. Just as a friendly reminder, we do have video chapters, so if you want to skip me from blabbing, you can do that. And what I'm going to cover now is crochet gauge. This particular type of yarn has me always crocheting really tight. So it's recommending an 8mm size L crochet hook, but for me, if I use this blanket will only be 36 inches wide versus 50. And what I had to do is do a gauge check, and I realized that I need to use this big bad boy here in order to match the gauge that is recommending here on the pattern. So what I'm gonna do now is that I'm going to take you extensively through there. If you don't want to do a gauge check, it's up to you. But if you're not getting the right size, chances are the gauge check is going to be your issue. So let's do a gauge check. In this particular pattern, they're telling us to use an 8mm size L crochet hook or a size needed to obtain the gauge. Now each one of us crocheted slightly different from each other. So some of us are loose, some of us are too tight, and some of us are just right. So in the larger thicker yarns like this one, I'm always a tight crocheter, so I have to always watch the particular gauge when it comes to this. So just because it suggests 8mm doesn't mean that I'm gonna get to the right size. So this blanket here is 50.5 inches wide. So if I am not following the gauge, my blanket could either be too big or it could be too small. If it's too big, it'll mean that I'll use more yarn, and if it's too small, I will probably have I'll have yarn definitely left over, but then I will have a size that may not be usable. So what this particular design is, and you'll see these on the Yarnspirations patterns, is that it says 7 single crochets in 8 rows equals 4 inches. Let me break that down for you. So by turning the page over here, so we have a square. So the goal is, in the particular square, is that we need to have 7 single crochets in the width, and then we have to have 8 rows in the height. And together this is a 4 inch by 4 inch. So our goal is just to check this. Now here's what I do with the particular math. It says that there's 7 single crochets. If I match that exactly and my gauge is not matching, I'm not gonna know how many stitches that I need in order to get to the right size. So the goal for me is to, and this is what I do for myself, is that I want 3 extra single crochets in order to work with it so that I can see the size. And if it is a few extra stitches, big deal, right? You're not gonna waste the yarn, you can just rip it back out. So if I want this swatch just to be 10 single crochets wide, I'm going to have to chain a total of 11. And the reason for that is that when you single crochet on a chain, it's always single crochet in the second chain from the hook, so therefore you'll end up with 10 single crochets. So that's what I would look for. So if your gauge happened to say that it was 9 single crochets and I want to add 3 more, so 9, so 10, 11, and 12, I want to chain 13 so that I can have the 3 extra. So that's my goal. So what I want to do is that I want to pick up the yarn that they're suggesting, and if you are substituting the yarn, the gauge check is the only way to do it. So I get a ton of emails saying the size was never matching, and then I asked if you checked a gauge, and that's when you hear crickets. So what I want to do is that I want to show you how to make a gauge based on this, and I know in advance that my hook is too small because this yarn is thicker and I'm tighter, but I'm gonna demonstrate it anyway because eventually for me I have to switch all the way to this thick hook in order to get to the size. Yes, it can be that drastic. So let's do a swatch. Now you don't need to waste yarn, because after you're done you can just frog it out, and if you're new to crochet it means to rip it, rip it. Get it? Get it? Okay, so we're gonna just create a slip knot to begin. And remember what I said, I want 10 single crochets to be across, so that I can see how much extra that I would possibly need. And so then what I will do is that if I want 10 single crochets I have to add an extra chain to that number, so it has to be 11. So let's chain 11. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11. Now it's hard to know because of your position now, but this chain feels very long. Remember that the chain always condenses down. So what I want to do is second chain from the hook, and I want to single crochet going all the way back across. And by using the second chain from the hook it eliminates one of those numbers from the chain, so I should have 10 single crochets. And you will see that this long chain will get smaller and smaller in the distance. And that's what we want to pay attention to the most. Now coming up to the end of the row I want to begin this again, but you don't have to chain of course, but you're just gonna turn your work and single crochet across. So turn, so chain 1 and then single crochet in each of the stitches all the way. And you're going to notice that it will balance out, and you will continue to make as many rows as you need to get yourself to 4 inches in the height. And then that's when the fun begins of the measurements, to double check your work. So I'm gonna go all the way across. And then once I'm there I'm gonna turn my work, chain 1 and do 1 single crochet in each. So continue to make as many rows as you need to get to 4 inches. You can always do 4.5 if you would like to. It's up to you. You're not gonna waste this yarn. And that's when I'm gonna pick you up next, because we're gonna take a look at the measurement, and I'm going to show you the difference then of the 2 different sizes, because this gauge I know is too small for myself because I've already checked. So I will see you back here in just a moment. So here's my swatch. I just roughly kind of guessed where 4 inches is, but I did have my tape measure just to double check. So what I want to do to check the gauge is that I want to count the number of stitches that appear between a 4-inch span. So you can see the stitch work, and just grab the middle of the swatch, and you need to count the number of stitches that are between the 1 inch and 4. So you can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I should have only 7 in a 4-inch span, and you can see that there's 2 extra. So I have a total of 9 stitches that equals 4 inches. This means that this hook is too small to match the exact sizing of this particular blanket, and my blanket will be grossly too small. So what I want to do is that I want to guess, and I want to guess the next size hook. So I thought that was pretty drastic on missing 2 stitches out of this, so I went to a 12 millimeter. So the number of sizes to increase is pretty much a guess, and you just have to pull this back out your work here and then just retry again in order to get to the 4 inches in the span. So it has to be only 7 single crochets. So just for kicks I'm going to check the height. So you can just turn it, and you want to count the number of rows in a 4-inch span. So in my case you can see that there's 2, 4, 6, and 8. So you can see that the number of rows is correct, but the number of stitches in the width is wrong. So you want to focus on the number of stitches in the width the most, because that's what's going to be more critical. So if your pattern's not long enough you can always add more to it, but you can never add to the width of it if you're going in this concept, unless you're going to do a wicked border or something. So what I'm going to do for tutorial purposes is that I'm going to cut this yarn, but you could just frog it back out to rip it, just pull it all out and just retry. And what I'm going to do is that I'm going to show you the difference, because I eventually went to a 12 millimeter. That was my next guess based on experience, and so I will do the exact same thing but with a thicker hook, just to test where I'm gonna land next time. So the trick to the gauging is the number of stitches in the 4 inches. So for example, let's just say I had 6 single crochets and that was where my 4 inches were. That means that my hook is way too big and I'm gonna have to decrease the hook and guess what size hook that I would have to go down by. But in my case, because this here did not even hit it, because I was 2 stitches short of the 4 inches, it means that my hook is too small. So that's how you adjust, and it's just a rough guess really. So let's move on to doing another swatch. So using a next size up that you think, I thought that 10 millimeter was not gonna be enough, so I went all the way to 12. It's better to jump all the way higher just to see where you're gonna land, and in my case it worked. So what I want to do is that I want to chain my 11 again. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11. Can I show you something? Look how much bigger that is, right? So now second chain from the hook, you want to single crochet yourself across. I can already tell that the stitches are much looser than they were on the original one I just did. So what I want to do is follow the same practices of going back and forth in the rows. So when I'm at the end of the row, I'm just gonna turn, chain 1 and single crochet across, and I am going to single crochet the number of rows that it will take to get to 4 inches, just like before. This sample is, this particular swatch is a lot more pliable in my hands. The other one was more stiff, so that was also my indication that I might have been too tight with the recommended hook, because I'm normally a tight crocheter with this thick yarn. So turning your work, chain 1 and 1 single crochet. So I'll meet you when we hit 4 inches in just a few moments from now, and that's where I'm gonna pick you up on the next story. So here is my new swatch. So this is what I have, and it's much bigger than the original that I just did. You can see that. So what I want to do is take my measurement then again of the 4 inch span and count the number of single crochets between the span. So I'm gonna count. So I'm gonna say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. So there's now 7 single crochets in this, in the 4 inch span. This means that this gauge is correct. Now I can check the height as well, and so I want to check, and in a 4 inch span, there you go, 2, 4, 6, and 8 rows. So the way that the stitches look, they're in groups of 2. That's how I do that. So I know that even though the hook was recommended for this, for the pattern, in order to match the gauge as it's saying, I have to increase my hook, and the difference is actually quite stunning. If I would have used this hook and not checked my gauge, the blanket would only be 36 inches wide. I'm not fooling you, versus the 50.5 inches that it should be. So if you think there's that much of a difference here just in this small swatch, when you combine it with the entire afghan width, it can be significantly smaller. So that's how you're gonna check your gauge, and then we're gonna move on in the pattern as we continue our journey. If you really love this pattern and you want to change it to any size, the multiples are 8 plus 7. So you will chain in 8, 8, 8, 8, 8, and when you're satisfied with the width of it, just add 7 more chains and you'll have the balance so that you can be able to do this. So it's a really neat concept in order for you to do it. So if you want to switch it down to 4 ply medium weight yarn, you can do that. You just have to change your chain counts if you want something that's going to be workable for you. So we're going to cover this next. I am going to be using Red Heart Super Saver Ogo here on camera with a 6mm size J hook to demonstrate the stitch work, and I'll take you through the repeat of that. So without further ado, let's head on into that next. Okay, are you ready to play? I certainly am. So let's begin. So using the recommended hook size with the L hook, or 8mm, you can chain a total of 87. Make sure you've done your gauge check just to make sure that you are going to get the right size. For everybody else that would like to change the size, you can chain in multiples of 8 plus 7. So here's what you'll do. So you'll chain 8. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Are you happy with the width? Yes or no? If not, add another 8. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. So then you just keep on going. Please do not email me to ask me the chain count for certain sizes. All you just need to do is put this chain up to something that you want to match to, like maybe a queen size blanket or a throw or whatever, and just lay it down on top, and you'll get roughly the same size as long as you stay in the multiples. Once you're happy with the width of this, you are just going to chain a total of 7. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So it's your choice. Either chain 87 or do the multiples of 8 plus 7, and then we're gonna be ready to go on row number 1. Let's begin row number 1. You're going to start off and you go second chain from the hook, so just count it back, so 1 and 2, and get the back hump of the chain, and you are going to single crochet yourself across the chain itself. If you stay on the back hump, it actually looks a lot nicer as a finished edge, and that's something that you can decide for yourself. So please just single crochet across your chain, and then we're gonna be getting into the starting of the repeat of the pattern from that point. I'll be back in a moment. Once you come all the way across your chain, that's it. That's row number 1. Turn your work and let's begin row number 2. Let's go to the diagram next. So we're going to start row number 2. So rows number 2, 3, 4 and 5 are all the same. So all 4 of those rows are the same. So in the instructions at the time of filming this, row number 3 is missing from the instruction. It's meant to say row, second to 4th rows, not second and 4th rows. So we're going to begin this. Now I put a line here and here and here, and that is indicating when the color is going to change. So I did that for myself to keep myself on track. So if you would like to do that, that's where you're going to do it at that point. So what I want to do here is that we're going to start off and we'll chain 1 and we'll do a single crochet in the first one and then a treble in the next. We're looking at the right side of the project, so when those trebles are done, you want to use your finger and pop it out towards you to keep it to the right side. Once you begin to do this, you'll know what is the right side and wrong side immediately after this point. Let's begin rows number 2. So rows number 2 all the way through 19 is the repeat for the entire concept, and then you just repeat that until you're satisfied. So let's continue to row number 2. Let's begin row number 2. You're gonna chain up 1, and in the first one here you're going to single crochet. The next one is going to be a treble. So watch what I do. You're gonna wrap twice and going into the same stitch, or sorry, the next stitch, and in, pull through 2 and 2 and 2. That's a treble. But what I want you to do is that you want to keep what the side that you're looking at to be the popping side for the texture. So when you squat this, squat it so the stitch stays in front of you. Don't let it go in behind in this particular row. So just let it squat in front of you and grab the next stitch, and make sure that next stitch is a little bit tight so that it keeps squatting on the front side of the work. Okay, so every other stitch is going to be a treble. So trebles next, and squat it towards you, and the next one is a single, and you want to do this all the way across. So the next one is a treble, and squat it down and keep it tight so the texture stays on this side. So the back side should be flat. So do this all the way across. The very last stitch should be a treble, and that's where I'm gonna pick you up next. So please go across. I'll see you at the end of the row. So I'm coming up all the way across. The very last one will be a treble. The last one feels like it's kind of awkward and out of place, but just bear with it and just go with the pattern because it really doesn't squat. Okay, just fake it or make it. So let's turn our work and begin row number 3, 4 and 5. So rows number 3, 4 and 5 are all gonna be the same as what you just did. I'm just gonna review it one more time. So you start off and see how this is a treble. You're just going to match it with a single crochet on the top, and the next one, see how it's squatted? That one has to be a treble. Now because you're looking at the wrong side of the project now, when you squat it so that that pops to the back, and it naturally wants to anyway. So, and then single crochet the next. So you want to keep all that texture on the other side. So the next one here, see this is a single, so it's going to be a treble that goes in, and then squat it and single into the next treble that's available to you. So you're basically matching the stitches to each other so that these are just offset a little bit. Okay, so the next one is a treble, and then squat it down like that. So what I want you to do is that I want you to do rows number 3, 4 and 5. This is this whole section, and I'm gonna pick you up at the end of number 5 where we're gonna change the color just to make sure that we're keeping in alignment with the pattern. I'll be right back in a moment. I'm just starting now row number 4. Don't forget that when you're looking at the right side of the project that you are going to squat it and keep it tight so that the texture still stays on the front side. So just keep an eye when you're on the back side or the front side of the work and make sure that the texture is going to favor. See, I let it fall to the back. Use your finger, push it out, keep it tight, and keep it within the front of the project. Please continue. I'll see you at the end of number 5 in a moment. I'm now at the end of the 5th row. I'm looking at the back side of the work. Okay, we're keeping in count. So what I want you to know is that I'm going to finish this yarn off. I do it slightly different than what the pattern would suggest, but this is the way I prefer to do it. And I'm just gonna weave in the ends, and I will use a tapestry needle later to be able to vinyl those in. What I'm going to do is just turn my work, and you see all the texture is on this side of the project, which is awesome. And we're going to then begin, and we're gonna start with row number 6. And I'm going to start with a new color and just create a slip knot. I do that for security, and I'm paranoid things fall out. So what I want to do is attach this to the top of the first treble. Okay, this is a single, this is the treble, and I'm going to attach it, and that's where my story is gonna begin. Now before I begin, when I attach it, I'm just gonna pull through and then hold, and I'll bring you back to the diagram next. So you should know that every time that there's an even number here, this means that it's the right side of the work. Okay, so if you want to put in right side, RS for right side, you can do that. So row number 6, we're gonna start off with some half double crochets. Whenever you chain 2 in this particular pattern, it does not count as a stitch, so it's a builder, and then each one of these stitches is going to have a half double crochet in it. It's going to be on row number 7, 8 and 9 and 10 actually. All 4 of those rows are gonna create the texture of the ribbing effect that you see within the blanket. So let's get started with number 6 and get ourselves set up, because we need to have that in place before we can actually do the really fun stuff. Let's begin number 6. Okay, let's begin number 6. You're gonna chain 2. This is not a stitch, it's a builder, and in the same one that you did the join with, I want you to do a half double crochet. Go right up over top of that straggler, catch it in behind and right underneath the stitch so that you can secure it later. You'll start in with the next single crochet and half double crochet, and so every stitch is gonna be half double crochet going forward in this one. So please do this all the way for number 6 and meet me at the end of number 6 in a moment. I'll see you there in a second. Coming all the way across, you're just going to half double crochet right to the end, turn your work, and you're looking at the wrong side of the project, which is awesome because number 7 and all the odd numbers are the wrong side. Let's begin and take a look at the diagram once again. In the diagram, number 7, 8, 9 and 10 are this ribbing effect that you see. Now the ribbing effect is done on both or all of these 4 rows, but you gotta pay attention to what is the right side of it. So we're currently on the wrong side of the project, and it'll be very obvious in your hands what you're looking at. So when you start off, you're gonna chain 2. Remember that doesn't count as anything, and you were going to you're gonna half double crochet. Everything is in sets of 4 from that point, so there's gonna be 4 of these, and if you're not sure what this is, you can look at your diagram information here. This is called the stitch key. So the first 4 are a front post double crochet. The next 4 are back, so front, back and front. So you notice that this is a front here on the edge. This will also be a front on the edge here for balance. That's why it's multiples of 8 plus 7. I originally thought it was multiples of 4 when I was doing the original filming. So once we get that established, you're gonna be able to see what this is, and the next 3 rows just a matter of slamming into position as you do it. Let's begin row number 7. Let's begin row number 7. Chain 2 does not count as anything, and in the same one that you're looking at here, you're going to put in a half double crochet. Now the next 4 in a row here are each going to be a front post double crochet. So wrap the hook and just dive in between the post and then back out the other side of the post. Yarn over, pull through 2 and 2. So you're grabbing it by the post, which is gonna create the texture. So you do that another time. So you do it 3 in a row. Okay, so with the original one plus these 3, you have your total of 4. Now the next 4 that you have are each going to be a back post double crochet. So wrap in the hook, come from the back side in between the posts, and then pop it back out to the back. Yarn over, pull through 2 and 2. So you want to do a total of 4 of those all together. So from the back, pop it to the back. Okay, wrap from the back, keep it on the back side. And once those 4 are done, you're gonna switch back to front post double crochet for the next 4. And you're gonna do this all the way across. So front post. This is really rich in texture. It looks like basket weave. Or this is the technique to achieve basket weave, you should know. So then once those 4 are done, the next 4 have to be from the back. And you're gonna continue this all the way across and maybe at the end of your row in a moment. When you get to the end of the row, the last 5 stitches will remain. So the first 4 are just keeping in count, and they'll be the front post double crochets that you want. And don't get confused by all this extra looking here. This is just 1 stitch. It's the builder plus the first half double crochet. So you're just gonna half double crochet in the top of that to have the balance. And so that's what it will look like. So let's turn our work and do row number 8, 9, and 10. Let's turn. For rows number 8, 9, and 10, you're going to match exactly what you see. You can see what's in the front here. You can see what's in the back. Just match it. That's all you gotta do. So you're gonna chain 2, and you're just gonna half double crochet in the same one right at the beginning. So that's always gonna be the same. So look at this stitch. Is it in the front or is it in the back? Did you say it's in the back? You should say it's in the back. It's in the back. So keep those in the back. So these 4 have to be a back post double crochet to keep that momentum going. So you're matching what you see instead of changing the direction. You get basket weave if you change that location and make it a front if it's currently on the back. So these are in the front, so keep those as a front post double crochet. So what I want you to do is that I want you to do this for rows number 8, 9, and 10, and then that's where you're gonna meet me at the end of number 10, and we're going to be changing our yarn back to the other ball as well. So it's a nice easy way to just look at it and examine, and you can put the pattern down and just enjoy the stitching journey. So please now do rows number 8, 9, and 10, and I'll see you back here in a moment. So I'm now here at the end of number 10. You'll noticing that it's contracting. That's a normal thing with this particular stitch. You just gotta stretch it out a little bit, and blocking at the end of the project also helps that too. So blocking means that you'll damp it and lay it flat, stretch it out, and let it dry. So, and when I say damp it, I'm not saying like soak it in a tub of water. Just spray it with the sprayer. We have videos on blocking. You can steam block it too. So you want to finish that yarn, and we're going to move on then to the next section and change it out, and we're gonna begin number 11 in a moment, and 11 will be on the wrong side of the work. We're currently looking at the right side of the project, and I can tell because this is all bumpy, which it's not on the back. So let's begin number 11. So rows number 11, 12, 13, 14, and 15 is the next section here. This is also known as like an arrow stitch. You can kind of see that there. It's close to it. It's not quite that, but it's pretty close. So what I want to do is that I want to start off with the single crochet that allows it to stabilize, and then that's why there's a single crochet in between these pieces. So you're gonna single, and then you'll create this. This is opposite to what you see here. So we're gonna be covering that when we get there. So just keep an eye on the right side and the wrong side of the project, and we're going to begin row number 11. So just join your new yarn, and we're gonna start number 11 with single crochet. Let's begin row number 11. Make sure you join your yarn, and you'll be at the top of the last half double crochet. Make sure you go right into the stitch work itself to hold it. Attach, and in this case you want to chain 1, and in the same half double crochet and every stitch you want to single crochet across, and you'll notice that this will push it back outward where it was contracting. The last basket weave concept, what that does is that it's great for hats and anything with elasticity. That's why they use that a lot. Keep those stragglers to the wrong side of the work, which is currently what I'm looking at, and you can always tell by the beginning section if you're on the right side or the wrong side. So single crochet yourself all the way across for row number 11. Okay, we're now at the end of row number 11. Let's go back to the diagram and let's examine what we're gonna do next. Let's begin number 12 by looking at it here, and we have chain 3, which will count as your first double crochet. You were then going to skip 1, 2, 3 stitches, and you're going to treble in the 4th stitch away. Now these ones here, see how they're blanked out, like they're more gray? Those 3 are going to be behind this. So you're gonna reach and just keep this in the front and do those 3 that you skipped with double crochet. Then to restart again, you're going to skip the next 3. So 1, 2, 3, treble into the fourth, and then again keep those double crochets in behind, and you'll do this all the way across with a double crochet right in the very last one. Let's begin number 12. Let's begin number 12. Make sure that you are looking at the right side of the project. It matters. So you're gonna chain 3, and you should be anyway if you're keeping in counts. So you want to skip the first 3. So this is your first stitch, so you're gonna skip the first 3. So 1, 2, 3. The skipping of the first one, this is where the first double crochet is, so that's not one you're skipping. You're skipping 1, 2, and 3, and you're going to treble into the fourth one away. So wrap the hook twice, and that's gonna lean back over towards the edge. The other 3 that you just skipped is where you're going to place in a double crochet. So work keeping this in front. So when you reach, keep that in front and just double crochet into those skipped ones that you did. Isn't that neat? So those are now up here behind it, and that's why it's grayed out in the pattern. So to start the next one, you skip 1, 2, 3, go to the fourth. Do you see how this is lined up like that? That makes sense, right? Because it's all in sets of 4. So you're gonna treble into the fourth one away, and then you're going to double into the ones that you skipped, keeping that treble in the front of the project. And I need you to do that all the way across, and this will take you to the very last stitch of just being a double crochet on its own. I'll demonstrate one more time. So wrap the hook twice and count 1, 2, 3, go to the fourth, and if you're looking at the pattern below, you can clearly see where it is too. The designer has done a great job with this particular one with making it easier to count, and then you double crochet into the ones that are sitting in behind. Please do this, and I will be back in just a moment. Once you're coming all the way across, the last time that you do this section, the very last one will be a double crochet on its own, and that'll help stabilize it. See that? Now you're gonna turn your work and let's do row number 13. 13 is going to be the single crochet that you already know, so chain up 1 and put in a single crochet in each one of the stitches all the way back across, and I'll meet you at the end of number 13 in a moment. I'm now at the end of number 13. You're gonna turn your work, and we're going to start this arrow stitching again, but it's done slightly different this time for row number 14. In row number 14 we're going to chain 3, which will count as your first double crochet, and then you're going to skip this stitch here, the next one, and you're going to double crochet in the next 3 after that. The treble is then going to lie in front, and you're gonna capture the one that you skipped so that it stays on the front side of the work to create the arrow look. So to restart again, you'll skip the next one, double crochet in the next 3, and then treble into the one you skipped, and you'll do that all the way across with 1 double crochet at the end, and I'll be back in a moment as we start row number 14. Let's begin number 14. Chain up 3 counts as your first double crochet. You are going to skip the very next stitch, and you're going to double crochet the next 3. So 1, 2, and 3. The next stitch is going to be a treble, and it will come into this one that you've skipped. So you're gonna wrap the hook, stay on the front side of the work, so just come in and just grab it like that. I'll show it to you a couple times, and you're going to treble crochet that, and when that's done, when you're done with it, it should stay on the front side of the work. So to start the next section, you're gonna skip the first one and double crochet in the next 3. So we have 1, 2, and 3, and then the next one is the treble into the one you skipped. And you keep doing that all the way across. So skip the next one and double crochet in the next 3. 1, 2, and 3, and then treble into the one you skipped. And I need you to do this all the way across. This is row number 14, and I'll be back in just a moment. So as you're coming to the very last one here, you're just still continuing, and then there will be a double crochet into the very last stitch that's available to you. Like that. And so it should be opposite to each other like a mirror, and that's what you're going to do, and you're going to turn your work and begin number 15, which is the last part for this color. Let's begin number 15. In row number 15 you're going to chain up 1, and you'll apply 1 single crochet into each one of the stitches all the way across, and then we're going to end this color and bring back the other color as we continue our journey. So please, one single crochet in each stitch across. I'll be back in a moment. At the end of number 15 here, you're going to end this yarn, and we're going to start the last section here, and we're going to start with row number 16 next, and we'll go back to the diagram. The last section of this before the repeat finishes is number 16 all the way through 19. The first time it's going to be these popcorns using half double crochet, and you can count the number of stems on there to realize that there's 4 half double crochets that make a popcorn. So you're gonna chain 2, does not count it as anything, and you'll just half double crochet the first 2. Then once that's in, you'll popcorn into the next. Then you'll do the next 3 of half double crochets, popcorn into the next. And that's one thing that we have to finish. So make sure that when you do a popcorn, you will do a chain 1 to close it, which I will demonstrate, and you will notice that the next time we do popcorns in row number 18, it's slightly changing the location for that, and that's desirable as well. Let's begin number 16 next. Let's begin number 16 starting with new yarn with the last single crochet. You're looking at the good side of the project, and I can tell that not only by the look, but it's an even number, which is also the right side in this particular example. So attach it, chain 1, and what you need to do then is that you're going to chain another. So attach it and do a total of chain 2. That doesn't count as anything, it's just a builder. And you're going to half double crochet that one plus the next one so that there's 2 in a row. The next one is a popcorn. To do the popcorn, you're going to apply 4 half double crochets. So you're going to count those out together. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. Once that's done, release it here and come to the first one of the grouping of 4. You can count it backward if you don't see it. It's the 4th one. Come from the front to the back, grab the loop, finish it, so pull it through, and chain 1 to lock it so that it stays puffy. And then you'll start, and the next 3 will be each a half double crochet. So 1, 2, and 3 in a row. So the next one has to be a popcorn again. So apply 4 half double crochets in that same stitch. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. Release it, go to the first one of the grouping of 4, pull through, chain 1 to lock it, and then do the next 3. So I want you to do this all the way across. Just remember that there's 3 that separate them, and I will be back at the end of the row in just a moment. And coming all the way across, the last 3 stitches after the final popcorn is each 1 half double crochet. 1, 2, and 3. And that's what it looks like. So you're gonna turn your work, and let's do row number 17. Let's do row number 17. Just chain up 1 and do 1 single into each. Just keep an eye on the count so that when you hit there, so I had 3 half double crochets in a row, so I'll have 3 singles. So just don't add an extra stitch when you see these popcorns. So right at the top of the popcorn is 1 single, and then remember that you have 3 halves that separate those. So we have 1, 2, and 3. So make sure that you just keep an eye on the count so that you don't add any extra stitches, because it's easy to happen on popcorns. And so do you see where the next one is going to be? There's 1, 2, and 3 that you have, and then your popcorn. So you want to go in your popcorn. 1, 2, 3. So let's do this all the way across of single crochet, and I'll be back in just a moment. Okay, at the end of number 17 you're going to turn. So we're gonna have our popcorns going in for the number 18. Let's talk about that next. Let's talk about number 18. So 18, we're gonna have a popcorn that appears between these 2 and here, and then every one in between. So you're not gonna have a popcorn that appears before the other one on an edge, if that makes any sense. So you're gonna begin, and you're gonna chain 2, which doesn't count as anything, and in this case there's going to be 4 half double crochets in a row. So we have 1, 2, 3, and 4, and then this allows us to get those popcorns to be in between the other 2. So the popcorn is in the next one, so there's 4 halves in the same one, and then they're still separated by 3s after that. So just get your first popcorn in just to establish it, chain 1 to lock it, and then the next 3 are each half double crochets. So there's still half double crochets that separate these things from each other, and now because we started a little bit later, they will all appear in between the other two like in visual wise. So continue that all the way across with your popcorns and your 3 half double crochets that match them, and at the end there's gonna be more extra left over so that you don't have one that appears after this one here. So continue this, and I'll be right back in a moment. So I'm coming all the way across, and number 18 here, the last 5 are each going to be a half double crochet after the last popcorn. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So now you're gonna turn your work, and let's do the last one in the multiple, and it's number 19. 19, nice and simple, just chain up 1 and apply one single crochet in each stitch all the way across. You're going to want to end your color at the end of this, so that when you start the repeat then going all the way through 2 through 19, that you have the right color to begin on row number 2. So end your color at the end of this, and I'll be right back in a moment. So this is the end of number 19. So you'll want to fasten that yarn off and start a new yarn, and start on row number 2 all over again. Number 2 starts immediately with those trebles and those singles that we had already before, and it's just using a different color as you did it before. So you can just follow now, and you're gonna do rows number 2 through 19 until the project matches about 60 inches in the length of it, and then that's where you're gonna end. We also then have side edging on both sides only, so we're not gonna touch the top edging, we're only gonna touch the side, and I'm gonna briefly cover that next. So the pattern has us do edging on this, and it's only on the sides, and it's just helping you to stabilize the edge as well. So you want to start off, and you're going to attach your yarn in, and you'll attach it and then chain 2, doesn't count as anything. And you want to apply 1 half double crochet equally spaced. So if it's ruffling, like it's causing extra ruffles, it means that you're moving too slow, and if it's starting to pull and contract like this, it means that you're moving too quickly. So stay within the chain work itself and just equally space out your half double crochets across. Experienced crocheters, you probably should not have a problem with this, but you can lay it down if you have a surface, and just to test it once in a while as you're moving across to get an idea on how fast you should be moving. Okay, so you just keep doing that and just continue to do it. So there's no stitch counts to hit, you just gotta equally space, and therefore you'll get to the other side of your blanket, and then that's where you'll fasten off, and then you'll do the same with the other side here. So I'm gonna do that, and then I'll be right back, and I'll show you how to weave in your ends with the tapestry needle, just in case that's new for you as well. I'll be back in a moment. So I've now just worked my way all the way across, and I've stretched it a little bit. Remember that this particular stitch right here does contract, and you do actually see that in the sample too. So once you have all the way across, then you'll do the other side, but what I'm gonna demonstrate now is just to fasten off. So just taking a tapestry needle, any loose ends that you will have, including all the ones that you see here, you want to put it through a tapestry needle to hide it in. So to do that, you're just gonna go back through the stitch work itself, ignore the edge piece. Like, don't go on the outside here where people will look at. Stay within the stitch work itself, and just back and forth a total of 3 times. If you've been following me through the years, you know that this is what we normally do, and the longer that you drag it underneath, the less likely it'll fall out on you. And so you go back and forth and then shape it, and if you want to damp block it, you can. We have videos for that, and this is a really neat concept, and it's a fabulous little stitch sampler, and you can pick up some tips and ideas for maybe some projects in the future. This is it for now. This is the Texture World Crochet Blanket, and I think it's amazing. So until next time, have a good one, and we hope to see you again real soon. Bye bye.